So here you can see that I'm coming from all the way at the back of the group, and I am absolutely flying through this group. Wait, but before I show you guys the rest of the finish, I want to show you the rest of the race. Enjoy! Hey everyone, welcome to another video. In this video, I will be going over the TFC Mad Monday series, and I was racing in the European time zone category B+. Once again, I'm racing with one of my teammates, our Bav, and we are both from BYT, Bikely Youth Team, the largest youth team on Zwift. So I'm going to be going over how I lost this race, what I could have done to prevent it, and how I could have placed better in this race. Right now you can see that I'm putting a pretty big sprint to try to stay with these riders, but that was one of the big mistakes that I made in this race, because this is just going for points. This is not actually the finishing sprint. So if I had saved a lot of that energy and just really tried to stay with the group instead and really done as little as possible, I probably could have had a much stronger sprint in the finishing sprint. This course was definitely a sprinter's course, but I think that I definitely could have done much better than I actually did in this race. There were 56 riders in this race, and in the lead group there were close to 25 or 30 riders, so it was a very strong field, and I knew that I wasn't going to have the best shot at the finishing sprint. My legs were already tired, and it just didn't really suit me as a rider. There were definitely ways that I could have improved, though, to help myself do much better, and I think I definitely could have done top 10 in the finishing sprint. At this point in the race, you're going to see me get slightly separated from the group because these riders all start to surge right now, and since I am close to the back of the group, I'm going to be left in the back of the group, and I'm eventually going to get dropped if I do not surge. So there's going to be a few riders who try to attack and go solo or go in a small group in this finishing sprint to try to take the win. We're about 2 miles out, and the attack happens just around these few corners, so stay tuned. This attack all happened when that rider from Viking just went to the front of the group and started hammering as hard as he possibly could. Viking, I think they're the #1 team in this race. They're the ones who are winning right now in the team classification, so they're the ones to beat, and everyone starts to chase immediately. Since I was towards the back of the group, I slowly drift to the back, and I am eventually left with these few riders, and right here I have to surge quite a bit, and I surge up to around 7 watts per kilo, just to try to stay with these riders, but I still don't get fully back in contact with the group because I do get caught behind some riders who are just dangling off the back. After we chased down the riders, most of the group started to settle down, and we settled into a rhythm around 3 to 4 watts per kilo in this finishing stretch, and we really just were all saving our energy for this finishing sprint because we knew that it was going to take your max sprint power to take this win. At this point in the race, the only mistake that I really made was being a bit too far back in the group and also going a bit too hard on that sprint. I did get some points for that, but that really was not necessary for me to go for those points because I'm in this series I'm not really going for the points, more just for the race and for the finishing sprint, because I personally don't really go for points during points races unless it's something like ZRL, but juniors can no longer participate in ZRL, so I no longer have to worry about that. Most times I just do scratch races because those are my favorite. It's really just attacking or going for the finishing sprint, which I find very fun. So 1 mile left, we're going around some twists and turns. This is pretty much the tough part of the course because everyone is going at a pretty quick speed. Nobody's actually going hard, but I'm still doing around 3 to 4 watts per kilo. Because I am a lighter rider, it is a lot harder than it is for a heavier rider to go through these rollers because they're kind of just gliding right now and they're just rolling over these small humps, whereas I am kind of suffering just to stay with them on the downhills because of the group speed. There's now 0.8 miles left, and we're going through a few more twists and turns, and then it kind of not really flattens out, but it's less windy and it's a lot more straightforward to the finish. So my next big mistake in this race, right here is kind of where I lost the group because I eased off right here, and I should have kept going at around that 190 pace to bring me towards the front of the group, because right here I found myself on the side of the group, not the best for draft, and I was already halfway through the halfway towards the end of the group, and I was slowly drifting towards the back. And especially in this sprint finish where it is a slight downhill, I am going to keep drifting to the back of the pack because I am a lighter rider. And right here you can see that I kind of paid for that, and now I'm at the back of the group pushing around 5 to 6 watts per kilo, just trying to stay with these riders and get back in contact with the main group. Right here I also eased up again, which was also probably not the best decision because these riders are already starting their sprint, and I should have started my sprint right when we rounded the corner, because that is when you see a lot of riders start to go, and those are the riders who end up winning the race. I left until right now, and I was already off the back of the group, so I was barely catching up to these riders. I did pass quite a few riders, but not enough to make up the ground that I lost on that slight descent before the finish. I hold a steady 350-ish. My sprint slowly went down to around 300, but overall I was pretty happy with my sprint, especially because I was tired, but I could have used my energy elsewhere, and I definitely could have done better with positioning and that kind of stuff in the finishing sprint. Overall, I was pretty happy that I was able to stay with these riders and not get dropped, but I was a little bummed that that finishing sprint was not how I imagined it, and I had nowhere close to my normal sprint numbers in the finishing sprint. I also had pretty poor positioning, so that kind of took its toll in my result. That's pretty much it for this video. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful or useful or entertaining, please like and subscribe. It really helps support the channel, and that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and ride on!